Hello Wargamers and welcome to another Steel Division Normandy 44 with me Bubblebox, and today it's the second part of the new update, and we're going to be having a look today at the Free French, the 3rd Blindee division, and also at some of the more interesting parts of the patch notes. We'll get onto that a bit later. First of all, we're going to have a look at the Blindee. Yesterday we put the first video of this patch up just to look at the new Panzers with the Koenigs Tigers, of course, and the 2 new maps and the new gameplay mode. If you want to check that out, check out the previous video. Also, I'll put links in the description below to the full patch notes and to both of the streams that both Paradox did yesterday and Eugen are going to do today, and also the I'll put the patch notes up in yesterday's video, which I did forget to put in the description. I'll do that real soon, as soon as I've done this video as well. So today we're going to have a look first of all at the 2nd Blindee, the Free French, which are given a load of weapons, or donated a load of weapons by the US Army to form their own division. And we'll have a look at the little bit of gumph that they've got on here. First of all, it's quite interesting. The 2nd DB gives everything it has in Phase A, relying on elite troops, light tanks and vehicles, and even tank destroyers. But it soon gets outclassed in Phase B and C due to a lack of high-end equipment. And I do like also to read this little bit of history that they put in for each of the divisions. Free Frenchmen are eager to fight on their own soil at long last, racing towards Paris, regardless of losses, to be the ones liberating their capital. Theoretically organised as a US armoured division, the 2nd DB implemented some personal changes, such as the addition of an organic Wolverine battalion and a focus on light tanks and armoured cars. So let's start off by having a look at the recon, and first thing I've noticed is I'm not so sure about the hats. They do look very French. I'm not sure if this is a Eugen thing, but they are red, and they are recon units. They've got red hats on. The guy over here has got his explorer's hat on. The guy in the Jeep looks very American to me. Yeah, anyway, let's get on and babbling. Let's get on the Sparhies. 4-man squads. We've seen these already, and they come in the little Jeeps, which disappears when you drop them off. We've got the 2-man squads in the medium machine gun, with a medium machine gun Jeep, which will give you a presence on the field. We've spoken about that already as well in previous videos loads of times. These come in, both are coming as veterans though, so it gives them a little bit better sightings and better at fighting. Not that you want to be fighting with your recon units, of course. Then we've got this group of Sparhies. These look, well, they're not new, but they come in a different vehicle, the AM-M20. It's still the American wheeled armoured support carrier, whatever you want to call it, but it's got the 12.7mm, the 50 cal on top, which is what makes it very useful. Can shoot at aircraft, gun down infantry, light vehicles. This looks like the best recon. It's the most expensive, but because it comes in that vehicle, probably the best recon. And these are going to be regularly vetted up units as well. Now I've also got this weapon. Wow, this is in Phase A as well. This is nice. So this is a recon unit for 85 points, but it's got a 7 AP power gun that fires at 7 rounds per minute. It's got 2 machine guns, one of which is a 12.7, so it can shoot at aircraft, and it's reasonably well armoured if it comes up against other vehicles. Perhaps the only thing that can take this out would be kind of light tanks, medium tanks. So this looks like a very nice recon unit, which you might actually want to actually use for fighting and supporting your infantry when necessary, and has high optics as well. So pretty nice in A. You can either get that as a veteran, or you can get it as an elite as well. You can get 2 veterans or 1 elite there. Moving on to B, it's kind of more of the same by the looks of it. Sparhies again with the red hats. This time they come in a scout car though. A little bit of a downgrade probably. It looks fairly similar. So that's the scout car compared to the Sparhies here in the AM-20. So it's the same weapon. So the scout car's a little bit less armoured basically. I think that's where those 10 points go. It's a little bit less fast as well, unusually. So just a downgraded, yeah, it's downgraded a bit, and it's a bit cheaper in Phase B, the vehicle they come in, the Sparhies. And then we've got some more down there at Elite. And then in B, we've got a little tank as a recon unit. This is interesting, an M3A3. Triple machine guns, wow, triple medium machine guns. So this is going to be able to gun down infantry. So this will be maybe quite nice to do with a tank push. If you come up against some infantry, you can just shove this thing forward real quick. It can be spotting for your tanks and gunning down any infantry. Yeah, that looks like quite a nice little unit if you use it properly. 90 points though, so not cheap for a little medium tank. And you get those in B, and you can get 3 of them for each stack. Moving on to the infantry, we've got first of all the commanders, the CDP Voltigeurs. Yeah, it's just a command squad. It is a veteran, so it will have a substantially increased radius of influence for the rest of your units. No smoke this time. We've got the bazooka, M1 bazooka, which again isn't that useful if it's a commander, unless it's a last line of defense, because you don't want to be involving your commanders in too much face-to-face fighting. We've got the MITR medium machine gun. I'm not over keen on these, and as you'll see later, we can get some heavy machine guns later on. But yeah, quite good for blockage fighting, not so useful for town fighting unless you're on the outskirts of the town, or shooting out, or in tree lines shooting towards the centre of the outskirts of a town. Then we've got the Voltigeurs to go with your commanders. These look like your staple infantry, 10-man squads, no machine gun though, just the M1 Garand and the carbines and the submachine gun there. So these are going to be your staples. Only 3 sets though, so not a lot of infantry in A. Then we've got these things, the MITRs. They've got 12.7 mil, so the 50 cal. I'm wondering if these can actually shoot at aircraft, whether they can shoot at aircraft from the buildings as well. If they can, they're going to be extremely useful. You only get 2 of them in A, but certainly just to give you that bit of aircraft suppression, it's going to be really useful, especially if you can bring a fighter up behind to take out any bombers that are coming in if they're fully suppressed already. Very interesting unit to be able to use there. Also in A, we've got some pioneers. I guess you're going to be wanting these because although the infantry you're looking at is quite nice so far, you're not going to get a lot of them. So we've got some pioneers. With the flamethrower, might be something you might want to use this time. Only 6-man squads though, remember. And then we've got, what else have we got? Some nueves. These are elite nueves. Now these are going to be good. These are 60 points though. Wow, that's expensive. They come in a half track, but they are 60 points, which is quite, I can't remember any infantry that are that expensive to bring in actually off the top of my head. But we have got machine gun this time, and looks like unit you'll come in, do some serious damage to the enemy, and then try and move them out of the way before they get mortared and attacked, because they are a very elite squad there. Then we've got some more of these medium machine... No, oh, these are the heavies. Okay, we've got in B. We're in B now. So we've got more of the heavy machine guns. 3 of them this time. Again, can't wait to try those things out. Then we've got some sapeurs, which we didn't have in A, I don't think. No, we've got some sapeurs. Some French sapeurs with the satchel charges. So we've got anti-tank weapon in these, and we've got satchel charges as well. So we can fight tanks, we can fight open-top vehicles with these satchel charges. I guess we can fight tanks with the satchel charges as well. These look like a pretty nice unit actually, if you can micro them and use them properly. Quite expensive again for an infantry unit, 50 points, but come in the half track again. But yeah, they look pretty interesting. Then we've got some more commanders, the CPD Voltigeurs again, which are kind of just the same as we've got already up in A. Yep, 25 points there. They're in the they're just coming in the trucks in A, but in this section they come in the half tracks. Okay, that's why they're more expensive. Then we've got some Voltigeur MITRs again. They're similar to the ones. Oh, they come in a different vehicle again. So it's the Voltigeurs again. Your staple infantry this time. Oh no, hold on. These look better. Oh, they've got 2 machine guns. All right, these are better. Okay, so these are 10-man squads. I haven't had these before. Also, we're getting an upgrade in our infantry in B. So yeah, 2 machine guns, 10-man squads. Not vetted up this time, but expensive again. So yeah, so it looks like with the French, you've got expensive and experienced infantry, but not many of them. So kind of elite infantry units really to use for the game. So we'll have to see how they play out. Next, the tank tab. So let's have a look. In A, looks like you can get quite a lot of light, medium, stroke medium tanks in A. Let's have a look first of all. The Char Command M3A3. Little medium tank. Useful, but quite fast off-road at 30 kilometers per hour. That's one of the things that you need to look at first of all, I think. Okay armour for phase A. Definitely an infantry killer with the 3 medium machine guns. Awesome. One there, and one there next to the main gun. So very well armed for a little medium tank against infantry. Superb support vehicle, and it's also a veteran, so it's going to offer influence to a number of units around it as well. And you can also, alongside, you can get 2 sets of 2 of those, but you can also get these M5A1s. You can get 4 of them. Not the Commander this time, of course. In fact, let's just compare those to the Commander. These are a different tank, aren't they? Oh, they are. Oh, of course they are. These are the M5A1s. What am I talking about? Being stupid. So 8 AP, and this time the 3 machine guns again. A little bit more armour. I don't know if the actual command tanks are going to be almost better to use than these because they're vetted up. I'm not sure. But you do get 4 of these in each stack. You can actually get 8 of those. And these have also got 30 kilometers per hour. So they're going to be interesting. They're going to be a fast unit to use in phase A. And if you do come up against a big tank from the enemy, perhaps a Firefly or something, you can just pull these things back and go and chuck them on a different part of the map, I guess, and get influence there instead because they're so quick. And you can get so many of them. So insofar as having influence on the map, these things could be very useful early in the game. But we'll have to see. Again, I haven't played this deck yet. We'll have to see how it plays out. Then in B, we've got the M4A2 command. So this is an upgrade here. The M4A2, 11 AP, 10 front armour. Got a 12.7 mil this time on the tank. Very nice. And you can get those as well for the same price, but obviously a lot more availability. You can get 5 of them that are not command tanks. So yeah, that's okay. And then also in B, we can get the M4A2 that's as an elite. Okay, so that's an elite one. And then, this is what I wanted to see. The M4A3. These are the ones I like. The M4A376. These are the upgun version of this particular tank. 3 machine guns again, including the 12.7, but a better AP power, a better front armor than the 4A2 for 30, 40, 56, for 50, yeah, for 50 points more. So I think it's definitely worth those few extra points. Oh yes, because of the extra range as well, 1,200 meters. No jumbos though, no jumbos for the French to soak up the damage. So that's pretty much it, I think, in B. Moving into C, more of the same. So some of the cheaper tanks, some more of the cheaper tanks, and some of the slightly more expensive tanks, the good ones. These are actually elite. So if you look after these, in fact, these could do you very well in phase C with their 1,200 meter range. Yeah, with 2 stars already, they're going to be quite accurate. They're already fairly accurate at 6, but with maybe if you stick a commander near them, they get even more accurate. So yeah, looks like a pretty nice weapon to have in C. Moving on to support. I've babbled on a bit about the tanks. We have of course already seen those tanks, of course we have in the American deck. But let's move on to the support tab. We've got the commanders. We've seen these already as well, but 20 points. Very cheap for commanders, so you can put with your artillery stuff. I've spoken about that already. Flamers, we've had a look at those already. Little 2-man squads. Jeeps, we've had a look at these already, but they can be very useful. You can shoot at aircraft, of course. You can get these around the map. Only 35 points. Pretty nippy. Not as nippy as those light tanks, though. 50 cal Jeeps. And then we've got GMCs for resupply. We've got an AM-M8 PBFM. We've already had a look at this, I think, in the Recon tab, if I can find it. Is it this one? I think no, it's not that one. Where is it? This one. Here we are. So exactly the same weapon as in the Recon tab, except you haven't got a Recon. So we've already spoken about it. It's got the 50 cal and it's 20 points less because it's not Recon in the support tab. And you do get, how many do you get? You get 3 of them. So that looks pretty nice weapon, but in A as well. Okay, that's good. So you can get them out in A as well. Then we've got the Obusier, the M8, little stubby. It has got another 12.7, which are also so useful, as I keep on endlessly saying. Sorry about that. Infantry support vehicle if you want one. These aren't my favourite things to bring in phase A. There's lots of other stuff I'd rather bring in phase A than an infantry support vehicle that loses its power in phase B and phase C quite quickly, but that's something, if you did want it, you could get. More commands. This time we've got the AMM60 command. Got the 12.7 again. Can be useful up near the front, spotting and shooting at those pesky aircraft as they fly over. More GMC trucks. Then we've got the Abusier M4A3. Now this is a better looking infantry support vehicle, although we can't get it until B. Certainly, oh, it's an upgrade of the Abusier M8, and it is a lot better, isn't it? With the 50 cal again, it's actually got 3 machine guns, 11 front armour, but it's the range that makes all the difference, that extra 200 metre range. And is it a little bit more powerful than the Abusier? It is quite a lot more powerful as well. So yeah, that looks a lot better, even though you can't get it until phase B. And you can get 4 of them in phase C as well, and that's it for phase C. Anti-tank. Okay, bazookas. We know all about those already, 2-man squads. Excuse me. Get the 57mm anti-tank weapon. We know all about those as well, but you can get a lot of them in phase A if you want in this deck to supplement. Well, so you can either go down the anti-tank route, I guess, to hold the line, or you can go down the line of getting a lot of those light tanks in phase A and spreading them around your front line. You can also get the 57mm in the half tracks, but why bother? Just get it. You've got enough half tracks with your infantry and stuff. These are going to be set back a little bit or hidden, so probably coming in with just the jeeps would be okay. And then we have an anti-tank tank. Okay, this looks quite nice in phase A as well. 1200 meter range, 13 AP power, 12.7mm gun as well, machine gun, 8 front armour. This looks quite nice actually. You only get 1. It's only 1, but you can get 2 sets of them in phase A. This could do very, very well indeed. In phase B, we've got some Fusilier Marines. So this is an anti-tank squad, a strength of 4 in phase B, as opposed to the bazooka squad in phase A, which is a 2-man squad. Okay, so that's interesting. Got some funny little hats on again. I'm hat obsessing today. And then we've got the 57. He's got that hat on again. Is 57mm cannons in phase B. We know all about those. And then some more of these awesome looking anti-tank guns, mobile anti-tank guns in phase B as well. And then in phase C, more of the Fusilier Marines and many, many, many more of the tank destroyers, the M10A1s. Can't wait to try those things out. In the air tab, pretty much we've seen all this stuff already. They're still tweaking with the aircraft a little bit in game. I don't know if you've seen this weapon before. This is a... Did this hat just fall off? Something just flew out. This vehicle, this is a Bofors on a vehicle. I'm not sure if we've seen this before. Gives it a little bit more mobility. So you can, if you want a little bit more mobility, you get less of them. So you can get 4 normal Bofors, or you can get the Bofors on the GMC truck. You get only 2 of them, so half the amount but the same price. Interesting. Okay, so I'm not going to go over the AA. We've done the AA, but it's just those Beaufort GMCs I think that's new for the French, as far as I can tell. Artillery looks a bit restricted. Nothing in C. Got mortars in A. 3 sets of 3 if you want them, but very short range. Look, 900 meters. So we're going to be, well, it depends. You could say it's difficult to use because you might get counter mortared, but I guess if they're up with your units where you're concentrating all of your kind of mental energy and what you can see on the map, then if you have them a bit closer to your units, at least you can micro them around a little bit easier, I guess, and get them out of the way of counter barrage. But you can go for the longer range. 1200 meter ones, we'll put them both up together. Get the 1200 meter one instead. It's got slightly better HE. You're going to get less of them, only 1 less though, and so I think personally I'd go for the higher powered one with the longer range. That's my personal preference in that respect. In A, that's it for your artillery in A. In B, got more mortars. This time though, you've got a little 12.7 or a big 12.7 heavy machine gun with it. So that's going to be quite useful. So you don't have to be afraid to bring this a little bit closer to the front line. 1200 meter range. This looks like quite a nice little mortar to use actually. And a little bit of armour on the vehicle as well. Then we've got the M4A2. This is your off-board artillery, but It's not the biggest off-board artillery in the game, but still, obviously, it's off-board artillery. Off-board artillery is what it is. 3 rounds, but you have got a couple of three machine guns that are going to be useful after you've used your 3 rounds of artillery, which is always good to have, including one of the 12.7s. Then we've got the Obusier M7, so this is your long-range artillery. I'll probably definitely put this in my deck for counter-battering, for hitting those recon units, anti-tank guns, etc. A little bit of armour as well, and also another one of those 50 cal machine guns on top as well. Finally, moving on to the aircraft, you're going to be a little bit restricted here. Well, you have got 4 slots, so not too shabby. The Piper Club, less said about that, the better. Why bother? Seriously, tell me a reason to take these things. And yeah. However, we've got a new aircraft on the block, the DB-7B. This is, and we'll talk a little bit about these machine guns when we come on to the patch notes, because there's some interesting changes about the defensive machine guns on the bombers and on other aircraft as well. But this one drops, as you can see, 4 bombs at 110 kilograms. But what makes these bombs different is they are smoke bombs. So you can lay a trail of smoke anywhere on the map from phase A. You can want to have air superiority, because I guess these things will get taken down quite easily after phase A. So you're wanting to get some fighters to go along with this. But yeah, it's they used to have this in European Escalation, one of their previous games, Eugen. And it was fun to use. They didn't introduce it into Red Dragon for some reason, I'm not sure why, but they brought it back for this game, which is excellent. Then we've got some Spitfires, and you can bring these Spitfires out in phase A. You can even bring 2 sets of 2 out. Really good dogfighting now, especially since the last little patches that they've done, and we'll come on to that very shortly with the aircraft. And then we've got some Lightnings, which we've seen before. Again, there've some changes to the effectiveness of the rockets on the, we'll come to that quite shortly as well. But these can double up as a fighter and use their rockets as well. We've seen all these before though. Then we've got the Spitfire Mark 11s with the bombs, and then we've got some DB-73s, which is the same as the ones we've just had a look at with the 2 machine guns, but this time they have standard HE ordnance for 230 kilogram bombs. And more Spitfires in C, 3 of them if you want. More DB-73s with the HE loadouts, and then some more Lightnings. This time though, these look quite nice. These have got 2 big-ish 750 kilogram bombs, but they've also got the machine guns and the other gun that you can use. So you can use these a little bit as a fighter, although their agility is now bad, as you can see, and we'll come on to that when we look at the patch notes. So moving on to the patch notes, and it was quite a big patch in terms of aircraft and anti-air balancing, again, just as they did in the last patch. And I'll put a link to the full patch notes in the description below, because I'm not going to go over them all. But as far as this is a fix, first of all, in that the airplanes can now use their defensive machine guns during evacuation. And I hinted on this when I was looking at the French. And so this guy in the front here can use his machine gun, but especially this guy in the back when they're evacuating, and you've got the I guess when you've got the fighters coming up behind, he's going to be able to actually use that machine gun to try to get them off of him and stress them out enough so that they actually themselves evacuate. I guess that's the plan. We'll see how it plays out in the game. Now, insofar as other changes are concerned, in the anti-air tab, we go to that real quick. For the, I'm reading this off the patch notes. For the short-range anti-air, in terms of the 50 cals and the 20 millimeters, suppression against planes is increased. So I don't know if we can see. Don't know if I've got any 50, 20 mils. There's a 40 mil there, but basically the 20 mil and the 50. Is that a 50? Yeah. So they're going to be more effective with suppression against enemy aircraft. Also, planes with good and very good agility now turn a bit sharper. So if we have a look, and I think in this one we had the example of the Spitfires. So these have got good and very good agility. So these have got very good agility. They're going to turn even sharper now. So these are going to be excellent dogfighters and give them the edge over the boom and zoom fighters in a turn fight. Interesting. So it looks like what they're trying to do in this patch is differentiate between like the interceptor type fighter and the dogfighter type fighter. The Spitfire is going to be obviously a dogfighter, and we'll probably have a look at one of the others shortly. So multi-role aircraft, and that's going to be your bombers and your rocket planes, now lose agility and a bit of speed instead of just speed compared to their flight version. Okay, so that makes sense. Also, anti-tank gun resilience to bomb and rocket planes has been increased, and I think that's a good change. We've got some rocket planes here. Lightning, yep, here's one. So, I mean, before I was just using these things to gun down to simply gun down anti-tank guns. I was always get one of these in phase A maybe if I could, take out the anti-tank guns if they were spotted. Now though, I've checked not the French, but these in-game from another battalion, and I haven't been able to one-shot an anti-tank gun yet with these. I've been able to two-shot one, so a second run, and three-shot definitely, and you do take their manpower down still, but one-shotting anti-tank guns with these things might be a thing of the past right now. And of course it does say they're also more resilient to the bombers also. Also, as far as anti-air defences is concerned, the single 50 cal machine gun suppression reduced against planes. So that's not in the anti-air tab. That's going to be in for your support and your infantry. So for example, these Jeeps with the 12.7mm gun will now have reduced suppression against aircraft, which again I think was something people were noting in the forums and things like that. So they've changed that a little bit. The P-51 Mustang, we'll have a quick look at that if I can find it. Oh, I need to go to my American deck. Let's quickly go over to the US Indian head. They must have them. Where are we? Let's get into the air tab. No Mustangs? Really? Seriously? Okay, let's go to the US 3rd Armoured. I know they've got them. US. 3rd Armoured. Here we are. Mustangs. Okay, so the Mustangs speed increased from 600 to 700. So these are very fast now. But as opposed to the Spitfire, the agility lowered from very good to good. So this is going to be more of an interceptor type aircraft, whereas the Spitfire is more of a dogfighter, as we've already mentioned. But this very, very fast now at 700 kilometers is going to be able to intercept those bombers, which are now hopefully going to be able to defend themselves a little bit. Moving on to the UK, so let's quickly go to our Scottish deck, shall we? Where's my Scots? There we are, Scots. Into the Typhoon. Let's have a look at the Typhoon. There it is. So the Typhoon, speed again increased from 500 to 600 and agility lowered. So similar to what we've just been talking about pretty much. The AVRE has had a change as well in the support tab. The AVRE, where is it? Here it is. The AVRE, yep, it's had a nerf on its front armor reduced. I think it was even 20 before, wasn't it? Now it's 20, and if I remember rightly, the back armor, was that back armor 10 as well? Looks like that might have been reduced. I might be wrong on that one, but definitely the front armor has been reduced from 20 to 15, but its price has been reduced significantly to 150. So now it's more affordable in phase A, because it is a phase A weapon, support weapon, but is a little bit more squishy, but still going to be good. It's still going to be really good, I think, in phase A for the UK. Moving on to Germany and some changes in their bombers. The Ju-88 has had a little bit of a, just to make them a little bit more useful. I mean, I've not really used these JUs much in the game. They just, basically, all I know about them is what I see when I see them coming at me from the enemy and I shoot them down with a fighter. I mean, they're just very slow, or they're quite slow aircraft. Having said that, the Ju-88S can be useful if brought in a spam to bomb the hell out of an area. It's the other smaller dive bombers that I find are not so useful. But this guy has had its price reduced a little bit from 220 to 200, makes that a little bit more useful. But the Ju-77s, where are they? They're going to be up here. The Ju-77D now requires more stress to fall back, and it has had its price reduced from 150 to 120. I guess people just weren't using these enough, so they've reduced the prices a little bit on those for Germany. The Nebelwerfers supply cost, everyone was using the Nebelwerfers. I don't remember any German decks coming at me. Where's the artillery? Nebelwerfers in here? Yeah, Nebelwerfers, there they are. So every German deck I come across has these things. Supply cost has been increased and the damage has been slightly reduced. So I did think they needed just a little bit of a nerf, and they've done that, indeed they have. Also, for the Germans, the little BMW has had a bit of a buff. It's had its price reduced and had the availability per card increased from 3 to 4 for the 17th SS as well. So a little change for the motorbike and sidecar, which I quite like the look of, but don't use it that much in game personally. So that, guys, is pretty much it for this patch. Quite a big one, lots of changes, and I'll put links to the full patch notes in the description below. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.